Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dana with the Data. So what's good, YouTube? The internet has been buzzing about what went down at Essence Festival. And finally, Mr. Rich Dennis is breaking his silence on The Breakfast Club about this whole FBA versus Africans controversy. And let me tell you, this interview is loaded with some real talk that got people divided in the comment section. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we're about to break down everything that happened. All right. So for those who might be out of the loop, let me quickly set the stage. Mr. Rich Dennis, who is an entrepreneur and founder of Sundial Brands, the man behind Shea Moisture, found himself at the center of a heated debate during Essence Festival. The controversy, tensions between FBA, that's Foundation of Black Americans, and African immigrants in the Black community. Now, this is a new drama, but it reached a boiling point at Essence Fest when discussing about Black unity, business ownership, and cultural identity got real spicy. Social media was on fire. People were choosing sides, and everyone was waiting to hear from Rich Dennis himself. So when he sat down with Lauren, Charlamagne, and DJ Envy from The Breakfast Club, after 45 minutes into the interview, Lauren finally addresses the elephant in the room. She asks Mr. Rich Dennis directly about the backlash he and Essence Fest received and how he feels about the FBA versus African divide that's been tearing through Black Twitter and beyond. Rich Dennis' response, well, let's just say he was more diplomatic. He talks about how this division is exactly what they want to see. Black people fighting each other instead of building together.
How did you feel when they turned the conversation because of Target and Caroline, your CEO's past involvement with Target? They turned it into a Black American versus Black African conversation, and that whole thing exploded of like Essence is losing its focus on Black Americans.
Yeah, I mean, those are one of the, I mean, I'd love to hear how you guys think about that, but that's one of those ones that I struggle with understanding intellectually, right? For a host of reasons. Let's just talk about the actual facts, right? So we had, 40 plus acts and performers, right? We had one Jamaican act, performer Buju, mm-hmm. and we had one African performer, Davido. Mm-hmm. Right? That to me doesn't say that we're losing our center, right? We remain extremely centered on African American culture, right? And on Black women. That's our center. That doesn't mean we can't expand out from our center. All it means is we can't lose our center. So if you were on the ground, if you were there, you see that center is very much there, right? You go into the convention center, right? You look at what happened on the stages, you look at what happened. If you were there, you know that we're still centered, right? But if you were there, you also know that we're growing and that we're broadening because everybody has to grow or broaden. Otherwise, you won't be around, right? There's also sort of the philosophical approaches to this is I view myself as Black. I've benefited from being Black, and I have also lost from being Black. When I walk in the room, what people see, if they don't know me, when I walk in the room, I walk down the street, they see a Black man, right? My entire life has been dedicated to uplifting Black. I've focused it on the economics, on the economic side of Black, because that's what I know how to do. That's what I'm skilled at. The thing that I've learned from that is we're much better off when we're focused on our commonalities and we're building on those commonalities. As I said earlier, I grew up, King, Garvey, Lumumba, right? That the thinking around, hey, we have a much better chance of developing and growing our communities when we find the commonalities and the alignments and we're working towards shared goals and shared objectives. When we don't do that, we become much smaller, right? And much more volatile and much more vulnerable.
I can't even believe you took the time to explain that. If me, Buju Banton, and DeVito are walking down the street and a white supremacist see us, guess what he see? Black niggas.
That's it.
What are we talking about here?
Do you feel like, though, with criticisms like that and like, just some of the stuff that you would feel like we're not going to, because y'all took ownership for a lot of things even before the articles hit, right? The things that you're like, this is nonsense, we're not going to take ownership for that. Do you ever feel like it's kind of like unfair? Are you ever hurt by it? Because you do so much centered in Black people. Yeah. Regardless of where they come from.
Yeah. I don't have the luxury of being hurt by it. Right. I think the first couple of times that it happened, there was, I think the first time I was here, and very, very similar circumstance, right? We did an ad for Shea, right? And that ad had run for months, and they cut it down for social, and the person that cut it down for social cut it where there was it ended. There was a white woman in the front and a white woman in the back, and then there was a very small glimpse of a Black woman, right? And that wasn't intentional at all, and it wasn't the message we were trying to convey. But people got hurt by it, right? And because we build brands and we're involved with brands that are all about our culture and all about our identity, and we ride hard for it, right? So the person that made that mistake, right, I could have walked in and fired that person, right? I chose not to, because that was a person that was trying to do something and trying to create something, and that deserved an opportunity to fail. And they got that opportunity to fail. They are today running one of the most acclaimed agencies out there, right? If we had reacted differently, they probably wouldn't have gotten that opportunity, right? So it's our responsibility to give them an opportunity to fail. I have chosen to spend my career trying to develop businesses and economic engines in our community. I can't, if I were so thin-skinned that, every time I did something wrong, or every time people perceive me to do something wrong, I walk away from what the mission was, we wouldn't be here, right? We wouldn't have these hundreds of businesses that are now on the shelves of Target or Walmart or CVS. If I had listened to the criticism when I sold Shea, I would have gone off into somewhere and hidden away and gone and done my thing there. I wouldn't have.
But then Honey Pot wouldn't have been what they are.
Honey Pot wouldn't have been here. Mayel wouldn't have been here. Lip Bar wouldn't have been here. Solo Funds wouldn't have been here. I mean, you name it. The list goes on and on and on. So I don't have that luxury. And I have to take. The other thing is, because what we're doing is so novel in our community, right? I have an accountability to say, hey, this is what's working and this is what's not working, right? People have the right to decide whether or not they want to rock with us, right? But we're going to keep doing what our intentions are. We're going to continue to share what those intentions are, and we're going to continue to do the work and be accountable for what we get. Like I said earlier, when something goes wrong, when something goes right, I'll be here for both.
And I'm glad that you're open to all this criticism, but the reality is it's hard to explain business to people who don't run one, especially corporate business, especially when you are, a Black person running a business trying to do things specifically for Black people. We are so hard on each other, man. I haven't heard Essence talked about I haven't heard Essence be talked about this much in years. At least Essence.
In probably decades.
You know what I'm saying? But now everybody's talking about it so much because we got so much negative things to say. And like you said, some criticism is valid.
Some is valid. Not all of it.
That's right.
Right? And the levels of criticism is definitely not warranted. Right? I will tell you that. Right? But if we hurt Miss Mills,
Stephanie Mills, got to make that right.
That's what we're here for.
You heard Lauryn Hill, you got to make that right.
Got to make that
But those
right.
are actual valid issues. Like that letter, she has actual valid issues.
Valid issues.
Y'all got too much Africans. It's not a valid criticism.
No.
Charlamagne is so unintelligent, aka lesser charge, and he is not the Black American whisperer. Because the drama about Essence Fest was mainly about it being Africanized. Rich Dennis admits production shortcomings and some culture discourse, but he tried to blame it on the performers, and they weren't the problem. See, Black culture, specifically Black women, is the center. That's the focus. And the problem is non-FBA decision makers are trying to branch out Essence to Africa. Do other groups such as the Chinese, the Italians, the Irishmen, and so forth, do they branch out? No, they do not. Also, he referred to the Essence Festival vendor section as a souk. That is an African term, not American. They want to expand to Africa, and that is a problem because you are trying to mask it as commonalities when it's really replacement. Mr. Dennis identifies as Black, but what Black? African or American Black? And a lot of Africans don't even identify themselves as Black at all. I appreciate Mr. Dennis' focus on Black economics, but too many Africans in C-suites, Black American spaces is an issue because it dilutes the center. And remember, the center is supposed to be about Black women and Black culture, specifically foundational Black American culture and foundational Black American women. So, what's Rich Dennis' solution? This is where he gets practical. He talks about creating more opportunities, more platforms, more spaces where both communities can thrive without it being a zero-sum game. He mentions specific initiatives, specific ways that successful Black people, regardless of their background, can live as they climb. He talks about mentorship, about investing in Black communities, about supporting Black-owned businesses across the board. But he also calls out social media algorithm and influencers who profit off keeping this division alive. He basically says, while y'all are arguing online, other people are getting the bag and building the future. I wonder who he's talking about. Tariq Nasheed, myself, and others. Anyway, now the response to this interview has been interesting, to say the least. The comment section is split right down in the middle. You got people praising Rich Dennis for being a voice of reason, for trying to bridge divides and focus on solutions. But then you got others who feel like he's dismissing legitimate concerns, that he's speaking from a place of privilege and not understanding the real struggles that everyday FBA people face when they feel like they're being displaced or overlooked. Some folks are saying he's right, and that this division is manufactured and we need to focus on the bigger picture. Others are saying that until certain issues are addressed head on, this unity talk is just empty words. Look, whether you agree with Rich Dennis or not, you can't deny that this conversation needed to happen. At the end of the day, this is bigger than just FBA versus Africans. This is about how we, as foundational Black Americans, can navigate differences within our community while still fighting the bigger fight for equality, justice, and economic empowerment. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you team unity like Rich Dennis? Or do you think there are some real issues that need to be addressed before we can move forward together? Don't forget to like this video. If it gave you something to think about, subscribe for more content breaking down the conversations that matter, and hit that notification bell so you can never miss when I dive deep into the topics that are shaping our community. Until next time, keep the conversation going, keep it respectful, and keep pushing for progress. Peace. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.